The March. A. Everette McIntyre, Federal Trade Commissioner. On a particular morning, I believe this is on the 26th or 27th of June, 1932, the police blocked the avenue and turned the marchers back. The bonus men had undertaken to march around the White House. The president didn't like that. A lot of other people didn't like it either because they were clogging up Pennsylvania Avenue in the busy part of the day. About 5,000 of the bonus marchers and their families were camping in some of the demolished buildings. The police encircled them. There was some brick throwing. A couple of the police retaliated by firing. A bonus man was killed, and another seriously wounded. During lunchtime the following day, I heard some army commands. To my right, down by the ellipse toward the monument, military units were being formed. It looked like trouble. We didn't have long to wait. A squadron of cavalry was in front of this army column. Then some staff cars and 4 trucks with baby tanks on them stopped near this camp. They let the ramps down, and the baby tanks rolled out into the street. When the army appeared, the bonus people who were in these old buildings started beating on tin pans and shouted, "Here come our buddies!" They expected the army to be in sympathy with them. One of these staff cars unloaded, not very far from where I was standing, and out of it came MacArthur, Chief of Staff. He had a youngish major by his side, as his aide. His name was Dwight Eisenhower. With their hands on their hips, they surveyed the situation. The 12th Infantry was in full battle dress. Each had a gas mask, and his belt was full of tear gas bombs. They were given a right face, which caused them to face the camp. They fixed their bayonets and also fixed the gas masks over their faces. At orders, they brought their bayonets at thrust and moved in. The bayonets were used to jab people, to make them move. Soon almost everybody disappeared from view because tear gas bombs exploded. The entire block was covered by tear gas. Flames were coming up, where the soldiers had set fire to the buildings to drive these people out. The infantry was apparently under orders to drive this group toward the bridges across the Potomac. Through the whole afternoon, they took one camp after another. My colleagues and I decided that the army would assault the camp in Anacostia Flats, across the river. There were about 20,000 to 40,000 bonus people there. We went on the roof of a building and watched what occurred there that evening. It happened after dark. The 12th Infantry did march across the bridge, in full battle dress as before. This was quite a sight. We could see the fires. Soon, all the occupants of that camp were driven into the Maryland woods, into the night. The next day, I read accounts of some of the people who had been jabbed with bayonets. Some of them had been injured seriously. Some who had raised their arms had their arms cut by some sabers. Others were hit by the flat of a sword. In some instances, ears were cut off. Edward C. Schal, a veteran of World War I. When the army came out, what else could they do? They just walked off like good Spartans would do. I remember when they came back from Washington. They landed over here on State Street. They had a sort of reunion. It was nice weather, summertime, and all kinds of people came to visit them. They had a flag spread out, and everyone was throwing money in, quarter, half a dollar, showing that they were welcoming him back and were all for him. They had quite a time. After that, where they went, nobody knows.